I'm Elizabeth, a literary princess. If you are new here, welcome. I'm a sixth-year PhD candidate in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists. And as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have another Jane Austen July video for you. So in my last video for this event, I ranked Jane Austen's love interests. And in this video, I am going to be ranking her heroines. So this was actually a little bit harder for me than the love interests. Whereas with the love interests, there are two that I'm like absolutely on the bottom. I like all of Jane Austen's heroines, like pretty well. However, I like some more than I like others, naturally. But whereas in the last video, I was like, wow, I hate Edmund Bertram. This is really gonna be more of a, I'm just not as fond of this person as I am of other people. So a little less dramatic. I also would like to point out I have made Jane the picture over here. If you can see her, I'm not sure. I usually have George Eliot right there, and Jane is usually behind my head, but I have moved Jane in honor of Jane Austen July. So let's get into ranking Jane Austen's heroines. As with the love interest video, there will be 7 because there are 7 what I would consider of the main Jane Austen heroines in her 6 novels. Sense and Sensibility has the 2 sisters, Marianne and Eleanor Dashwood. Whereas Pride and Prejudice, I am not including Jane Bennet because I do not feel she is equally the main character with Elizabeth, whereas Marianne and Eleanor are. All right, so at number 7 is actually Marianne from Sense and Sensibility. Now look, it's not that I don't like her. However, I find her a bit annoying. I don't know if it's just because I am older now. And maybe when I was younger, I liked her more. However, I'm like, the whole time I'm just like covering my eyes like, oh my God, no, why are you doing that? Don't do that. For everything with Willoughby. There's spoilers in this video, by the way. There were spoilers in the last one too. If you're clicking on this video, I feel like you probably already know the books. Anyway. Yeah, no, the entire thing with Willoughby, I'm just like covering my eyes, shouting, no, you idiot, this is not how you're supposed to behave, and you know that. She's just so indiscreet. And like, I know she's young, but oh, girl. Also, when she's like, people Colonel Brandon's age are never going to find love and like shouldn't be trying to find love, I'm like, girl. Like, I don't know how old Colonel Brandon actually is in this book, but I feel like he's probably not that much older than I am right now. So I'm like, girl, no. I also just feel like she's so pushy towards Eleanor, about Eleanor not really sharing her feelings and like showing how much she is in love with Edward, which I'm like, you're not supposed to. In this time period, you are not supposed to. Society expected you to act pretty indifferent until a proposal of marriage was made to you. So I'm like, Marianne, shut up. You're wrong. Again, I don't dislike her, and I love Colonel Brandon. And I'm glad that she eventually realizes what a fantastic guy he is, but she's definitely my least favorite of the heroines. Next place is actually Eleanor Dashwood. And this is one of the ones, it's not like I don't like her or I really haven't any good reason to have her so low. It's just that there's only 7 of them, so somebody has to be at number 6. And I feel like Sense and Sensibility in general for me is the least memorable of the novels at this point. And I like Eleanor quite a lot. I actually think she's probably the Jane Austen heroine I'm most like her or Anne Elliot. But she is not as memorable for me as the other, however many we're going to be talking about. Five, I can count. So I do really like her. It's just, I also think it's because Sense and Sensibility is Jane Austen's first novel, so the characters in the later novels are better developed. However, I do find Eleanor quite relatable, and like, I do like her. It's just that somebody has to go here. So, sorry, Eleanor. Also, her love interest sucks. I'm like, girl, you should dump him. Dump him. That's just my opinion. Anyway. Coming in at number 5 is Catherine Morland from Northanger Abbey. So this is another one where, like Marianne, she's very immature. But I'm often covering my eyes like, oh my God, no, 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 no. However, she's such a big reader. She loves Gothic novels. And that makes me really inclined to love her because obviously I love reading and I really love Gothic novels. So I'm like, if I had to hang out with a Jane Austen heroine, I feel like Catherine Morland would be a decent choice because we could just talk about books. I think she would have been much higher when I was younger. Kind of like how Henry Tilney would be much higher in the love interests when I was younger. Because now I'm like, if I hung out with her, I would be so annoyed. Probably. Like, we would talk about books for a little while and I'd be happy, and then she'd do something dumb and I'd be like, oh my God, I can't deal with you. But I do really like her and always have. And again, she's a very memorable protagonist just because of the foolishness she gets up to. And you kind of just have to shake your head and be like, oh, Catherine. No, no, sweetie, no. But yeah, I don't know. She's always going to have a very, very fond place in my heart. Coming in at number 4 is Fanny Price from Mansfield Park. Now, if you had asked me 2.5 years ago who my least favorite Jane Austen heroine was, I would have said Fanny Price, because I did not really like Mansfield Park that much when I first read it. And I'd only read it the one time. However, upon rereading it, I believe 2 years ago, I found that A, I really like the novel, and B, I really like Fanny as a character. She is very quiet, and she seems very meek and passive, but when she feels strongly about something, there's no moving her. She is solid in her beliefs. She's like, no, I am not marrying Henry Crawford, and no amount of people trying to convince me can make me do it, because nope. Bad vibes from him not doing it. And she was completely correct in not doing that, because that would have been a very bad match. So yeah, I don't know. I really like her. I think Katie has called it like a quiet strength. That's Katie from Books and Things, who is hosting Jane Austen July, if you did not know. But yeah, I did like Fanny's quiet strength. Do I think she's a little bit much in some ways? Like, I'm like, doing a theatrical's fine. Like, you're fine. It's not immoral, although people were obviously using it to do some rather naughty things. But I'm like, so she's a little bit like overly, I don't want to say like prudish, because that's not, she's just like, she's very, I don't know, she's very virtuous. I can't think of the right word that I want, but it is a little too much, which is why she's not higher, but I do ultimately like the strength that she has, despite seeming so quiet and passive. Coming in at number 3 is Emma Woodhouse from Emma. So when Jane Austen was writing Emma, she wrote in a letter or something about how she was making a protagonist that nobody but her would like very much. And is a sweetheart. Like, she really is. She's just an idiot. And like, I get why she is like this. She has always been like the smartest person in the room other than Mr. Knightley. She has always been like the highest lady in the room. She has been like the mistress of her father's house for a really long time. I get why she's like this, why she thinks she knows best, and why she can be kind of insensitive sometimes. So you're like, Elizabeth, why isn't she way further down? It's because of her character development. I would say that Emma, of all of the Jane Austen heroines, has the best character development over time. Like, she truly changes as a person and becomes better. And I love that. So while there are most definitely parts where I am covering my face going, no, Emma, no, you fool, I think that the character growth she goes through in the end makes me really like her and have her pretty high up for heroines that I like. She is an idiot, though. Oh my God. The scene in the carriage with Mr. Elton. No. And then, of course, there's the badly done Emma. Every time. Like, what an uncomfortable picnic. Can you even imagine? But she changes for the better, and that's why I really like her a lot. Coming in at number 2 is Anne Elliot from Persuasion. So Persuasion is actually my favorite Jane Austen book, which I recently talked about in a compilation video that Katie at Books and Things made for Jane Austen July. And Anne is just so, like, wow. She's so sweet. Like Fanny, she can be a bit too passive sometimes. And obviously was when she was younger because she got convinced out of her engagement. But I think she's another one who has a quiet strength. And I just really like her. I think I also really like her now because she is the oldest of Jane Austen's protagonists. So for me, she is more relatable than some of the younger girls like Catherine or Marianne now, because I'm older than Anne Elliot. That was a big when I hit 28, I was like, oh my God, I'm older than Anne Elliot. Everything's downhill from here. Not really, but it was kind of weird to be like, wow, I am older than Jane Austen's oldest heroine. Weird. Anyway, I really love her. I love her romance with Captain Wentworth. And she's sweet. I hate what they did to her in the newer movie. I haven't even watched it and I hate what they did to her. Just from the preview, I was like, oh God, what did they do to you, honey? Like, she's not a quirky girl. Stop. Stop. Ooh. She is sweet and kind and quietly strong. But yes, she is my second favorite. So, who is left for number 1? It is, of course, Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. And I feel like a lot of people probably feel the same way. Pride and Prejudice was the first Jane Austen book that I read, so I think that has something to do with this. Also, the fact that in the 2005 film, she is played by Keira Knightley definitely helps, because Keira Knightley is my favorite actress and I am in love with her. So, but also, I just like Elizabeth. I like her snarkiness. I like that she's kind of willing to just like push back against people that are in much higher status than her. Like, and also, like, I love a good proposal rejection. Like, those really do it for me. And her rejection of Darcy in that first proposal is savage, and it's great, and I just love it. But I also really love how much she cares about her sisters, particularly Jane, of course. Like, I think that their relationship is really beautiful. The fact that she walks to Pemberley to take care of Jane while she's ill, I'm like, wow. Like, that's just a really good relationship, and that shows what kind of person she is. She's smart, she's witty, she has flaws, and she grows. I would say her character growth is not nearly as much as Emma, but it is, or even as Mr. Darcy's. Darcy has the most character growth of any of the love interests. But she does have character growth, and she does realize her faults and go about fixing them. And I really like that. So yeah, it's Elizabeth Bennet for me. It probably always will be. And yes, Keira Knightley does have something to do with that. However, it's also just the way that Jane Austen has written her. So that is my ranking of Jane Austen's heroines. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? What is your ranking for them? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.